You got me turned on down the road? Nope. Yeah, it's on. Is it got a standby anywhere? Well, there's a button, but I don't know what it is. Oh, it's probably to open it up. Mic's not on. Not working. How about that? All right. All I gotta do is point it toward the back. Point it that way. It got a blue button that says it's on.
I just saying something happened. If I open it up,
There it is. Oh, that's hell time reverse. How about that? Good. Well, I don't have to do a major introduction. I don't know me. And it is good to be here. And I know one of our major supporters is Lynn and I. We JC started getting support here before we came on. But I have reread that. Henry, I took it all to JC when he gave it to me. I said, JC, just do that. What are you looking for? I looked at the line. Tell Mike, I didn't see one. I bet that's the one that works right there. You get that going, I'll use it for free. All right. Y'all know Jason and Linda, they're both getting older and a little more feeble. He's 82, she's 81. And I don't know where they're at this Sunday. We go so much different directions that we rarely ever run into each other. But our mission has always been to recruit, educate, and encourage communicators of the gospel. And that still remains to be the key emphasis. And to do that in all language, culture, and country, and all those things play a major part. And I'm looking at more than one mission working on it. I've been to Mexico 8 trips prior to going with those missions. Down there and planting churches, but we was giving the preachers money. This setup, we pay for an education with your help. We give them a scholarship for all the classes that they take. And we don't pay any preachers. Now we get asked, and I just got back from Nigeria. Spent a couple of weeks, a little too. They're always asking for money, but that is not our mission. And the reason is you get them on that American money, and they don't want to stay on American money. And so we want them to be independent. Most of our schools, or all of our schools, are Saturday schools. And the reason we do them on Saturday is because you can't get there during the week because you've done a job. And so we weed out and get the people that are really sincere and honest, and you get away with the temptation to do it just for money. We do see some of that. We do hire denominational people to take the courses from time to time. We had 45 graduates in Nigeria this time, and one of those was a denominational preacher. But as I was out there in the bush, meeting with them, and the preachers and all the teachers come together, and the students come together in a congregation out in the bush. And he stood up and told me that he was going to be baptized. he's trying to convert his entire congregation. And so that's what he's trying. He's working toward that, so he wants to let that be a lead step over into being baptized scripturally. He's learned the truth. He knows the truth. And he's been working on the congregation. Is it Acts 19, Jimmy, where Paul rolls into Athens? Look, see if that's 19, verse 17. Is that verse 17, 19? Which one is it? I can't remember which way the numbers are. Which one is it? Just 19, 17 is the city of Athens. Look at verse 7, 19, verse 17.
This was not long, huge grace and so good in essence of good. They were simply.
So which one is it? Turn back to 17. Chapter 17. Oh yeah, verse 21. The opinions. Is that right? 2021. So he goes into the city out in quick. It may be 1719 or 1917.
Verse
17. Huh?
Verse 16 of chapter 7.
16 and 17?
All the way to the end of that.
There we go. That's chapter 17. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, we're going to make the point that when I got to Nigeria, and now you just picture this in your mind, as you're driving down the road, and it's an old washed out road, and it rained the night before, so there's nothing but a motorcycle track down through the middle of it. Here's the bank up here, here's the road down here, and here's where all the water runs, and that's what you're driving down. You go through big mud puddles and all this kind of stuff. You're going out in the bush. But what's amazing is there's a building, just like these pews. Just imagine, if you will, these pews. And they're lined up down through there. And this will be Church of Christ, Lutheran, Anglican, Methodist, Assembly of God. And in between those will be 3 or 4 of whatever name, 3 or 4 of whatever name, 3 or 4 of whatever name, 3 or 4 of whatever name. Look, Nigeria, Christianity is a money-making deal. All those churches, and I asked Emmanuel and Brother Ubi, what was the deal? And the deal is that they built those buildings on their plot and put up whatever name on it because it's a way for that preacher to make a living. And that's just all it is. Your religion, your way. Your religion, your way. You got, in Nigeria there, we saw in Ika and also over in Oludu and Fort Harcourt. You see some of the older churches, the Church of Christ been there. The oldest existing church of Christ we know of in Africa is actually in Ika, Nigeria. And the college has been built there, built a new school and all that kind of stuff, and that's what we're having to do with that and working through that. But I felt like Paul, when Paul said, I'm seeking you people are spiritual by all the gods that you have and that you see. And when I'm driving down through there, that's all I could think about was they're religious people, but they're covered from every base but from the white base. And I read this week, or heard this week. I'm listening to one of the great announcers who was talking about Christianity is the only religion that works no matter where you carry it in the world. Christianity itself is the only religion that works no matter where you carry it in the world. You can't take Hinduism, Buddhism, and all these other radical thoughts, Taoism and others, and carry them all over the world and go to any city and then work. But you can take Christianity where? Everywhere. Why? Because it's the first, the original, the truth. That's why it's so prolific. The problem we have is the multiplication of that for all the wrong reasons, for filthy lucre's sake. And that's what I saw in Nigeria. I told them then my hat was off to them. Here they are having to sacrifice their salaries to come, and we pay them a meal. We feed them breakfast and we feed them lunch. They'll be in there 7 hours for classes. 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, and an hour for lunch. And so we feed them breakfast when they get there, because they gotta walk, most of them walk to get there. Or ride a kitchen motorcycle ride, they do 3 or 4 of them on one motorcycle. I have seen it in 5, not with me. Yeah. So that's it. I'm big enough for more than a couple. But on that, but the whole idea is we're in there and we refuse to give up and we don't want to quit. Even though I see that all around us, we got to keep the footprint of the church there. And others are coming to that and are seeing what's going on, like this one denomination preacher. He is seeing the error of the ways and what has been taught. He said, I see the truth, but this is my dilemma. He said, I got to do something. I want the whole church. And so that's what he's faced with. His brother Ian. And so I'm going to continue to pray that works out for him and for the kingdom as well. But that's so more important to do that in our own language, culture, and country, to bring him here and educate him here. He's going to see all kinds of religious teachings. We see this everywhere. Not as close as what I was seeing there. Not that stacked in there, one building after another after another. I mean, literal, just one right after another. I mean, you can count 20 signs down there. Or you get to the corner, there'll be 7 or 8 church signs on a corner, posted all these churches this way. 7 or 8 on one corner. I thought that Tresvant, Tennessee was bad. You drive from here to Tresvant, Tennessee, and there's 5 religious belief systems that are building on the same corner. After the Civil War, the man donated the land for the churches to be rebuilt that the Yankees had destroyed. And so the Church of Christ, the Methodist, Presbyterian, Baptist, somebody else are all right there side to side to side. What did each part like? You know, that's a free debate here, but down there, that's just kind of the rule of what I see. So we got to do everything we can to keep them in their own language. What was amazing, the songbook was just like this one. It's being used now. It's over. I get this book and I open it up, and the song leader starts out and he goes da 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 da, and backs up. Then they begin to sing. I'm singing in English. They're reading in English, and they're singing in something else. What comes out their mouth and what I'm seeing right here, what comes out of my mouth, are 2 totally different things. That is their dialect. It's English. If you listen close enough and slow it down, you can hear the English in it. But they're rhythmic people, and so it's more chant. And you've seen me on my fast day when I get hurt. That be slow. That be slow. And they even tell me to slow down. But in annual lesson, Hockman, we got a director there, and we had 30 students to graduate from CAO Essen Bible College while I was there. Great students. We had one student who was an elder. He was an older guy. He was in his 60s, and he was there for one of the congregations out in the bush. He took it for, he got a bachelor's in Bible. So he just wanted to be more informed on how to live in church. And so I told him and said, thank you for that. But language in our culture, when we talk about culture, that's one of the things you don't want to do anything that would offend them. And so y'all heard me tell stories of eating stuff that they eat. Then when y'all, you don't carry one, you're a small one in the bunch, you're bringing that in the bunch. What's carry one? I'm picking on you, sister. What is periwinkle? What? Flower? Can't be a flower. You think of it as in color, but always periwinkle the color in my mind. But it's actually a little sea creature and a little shell about this long. When we were just off the seacoast, not far. And so they go out there and they gather those little things up. And you look them up on your telephone, and they call them sea oysters. And so they go out there and they got a plant out here that's got little bitty seeds, and they look like little bitty purple seeds. And they thrash that, pick that seed out, and then they put it in a root, They chop up some green stuff and put it like it'll be spinach. They put that in and they make a soup. They got roots out there that are growing their plants. They look like the sumac here. Everybody here knows what a sumac is for sumac bushes? I think that big old root that gets up to huge. And they build up that mound like we do potatoes so that it's got a little push. And they'll dig that root, cut it off, put it in there and strip that thing off. And then they got what we call in Mexico, they call mojito. It's a stone pot. There's a wooden pot. And you got like a, what we call a churn. And they got a big wood stick that goes down in the push it. Now, I don't know what they put in it, they all that thing up, it looks like a ball of flour dough. And they sit down and make that soup. And they take that, get off each of them, roll it up in and they take it and they mash it, put a hole in it with their thumb and stuck to their finger. They take that soup, they don't have fingers. You take that soup and you pull it up and throw it in the mouth. And you swallow it, but you make sure that you don't swallow the periwinkle. If you get that little stone in there, you reach it, you suck that oyster out of that stone and throw it over in the garbage. So it's different. So I had periwinkle. Also, I've had dough in years. But it's been a while since we've had stuff since we had dough. But they, one of the slides I'll show you next time we're over with them is we pulled up and there's a big long canopy thing sitting there. And we had goats tied one at a time, brown goats. That's the type. And I asked Emmanuel, I said, is this the meat market? He said, this would be the meat market for the dog. He called it big dog, because I'm bigger. But I thought all that was interesting. In the country, yeah, simply because of the money, I preached an lectureship in Obudu. That was 2 days. On Friday and Saturday, after I got there on Tuesday, actually went to bed sometime Tuesday night and got up Wednesday morning. We got on the road and started going in the jungle. And I didn't know it Friday morning I was going to end up in a lectureship. And Saturday was going to be the graduation and the lectureship started at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. And by 9 o'clock I was speaking, And I told Brother Lydia, I said, would have been wonderful if you would have told me. So therefore, always have a bunch of lessons in you. So when you get called on, you got something to say. But I've got enough outlined in my Bible, I've just covered on all of that. But that was exciting. We got through about 2:30 that afternoon. I was worn out, and they felt sorry for me, so they went and got me some little potatoes and done them, boiled them right quick. Fed me potatoes and stuff, got other stuff. That stuff is tough on me. It's tough on me. So I ate my potatoes and I sat there and he brought me. And you got the text that I sent you? I sent Lynn a text that night. It was finally over and I'm tired. I'm exhausted. It's hot and there's no air conditioning. My sweat's got sweat. It's so hot. And so I'm sitting there and I'm just like, it's 2 in the morning. Kind of go to sleep and thinking, please do all. Well, I sat there forward, so I sent Lynn and I said, sad news, I no longer need you. It's obvious that they need lectureship speakers in Nigeria. I just did my first lectureship, they paid me $15,000. And I said, or Naira. And I said, on second thought, having my bed ready, I'm coming home, that's only 10 American dollars. So she got a kick out of that and laughed about it, but it was funny. They give me a stack of money just in this high, $10. Down in your pocket, it goes. They collected that and it was great. But if you bring them here, a lot of them don't want to go back simply because of the wealth that we have. And we are blessed tremendously, brother. I'm telling you, on our sorriest days, we are blessed beyond most of them by any stretch of the imagination. Don't know all of them. Let's go a little on. All right, all our schools have 1 degree, that's Bible, have 2 English classes, 2 computer classes. I just bought 4 laptops while I was in Cameroon. I got to go to Cameroon while I was there and see Brother Prince and Cuba. They were trying to get their computer classes going. They're always in civil unrest. When we got over the border, we didn't go down deep into, we were about an hour in to Cameroon. We didn't go deep Matter of fact, I wouldn't supposed to be there, but Prince Ubi is a diplomat there. He's a administrator and for the country, and he teaches our classes. So he got their Memorial Bible Institute, and he runs a little water processing factory for to sell, to make money to support the church there. He also runs a children's school for the deaf kids, and then he has 6 days a week class at their Memorial. He has 5 days a week. He has students that are there living in the dorm just like he would minister preaching. And then he has students that come in on Saturday, so he's teaching. I called him yesterday, or texted him. He was teaching the book of Revelation yesterday for his weekend students. And so Prince Ubi is extremely busy. Some places we don't have computer classes simply because we don't have electricity, but we teach agriculture. And that is great. Got down come down up to Knoxville, Tennessee that want to come and go and teach agriculture. We got about 25 students from one of the colleges up there that wants to go in May. And so I'm trying to get that many to go for them now and they go about that. So that's what time she's heard that. But also economics class. And I told him, I said, I feel bad. I told JC, I said, we tell everybody we do an economics class, but folks, they can teach us something about economics. When you have nothing, you may do. And so that's what we call economics, taking what you have, multiplying it. Now, they know how to do that. And so it's pretty great. I also find out that the chicken and the dough is cooked, they fry it, it's hard, but they don't want no parasites in it. You gotta work at it. And when you go in here and order a plate in the restaurant, nearly every restaurant we go into will have at least one meat, right? And 2 or 3 vegetables go with it. You sit down at the table over there and eat, where if there's meat on the table, it might be 5 apiece chunks. And don't be a pig, you're extra for it. Because that's all they got for all of them, you included. And so, I just was watching that, trying to pay attention. The only time I got 2 little pieces of chicken, I got 2 pieces. And the reason I did it was Prince Ubi. We called him Ubi so long that when I got down there, he corrected me. It's not Ubi. It's Ubi. Like Ubi. Not a U. Don't pronounce the U so much. And so we would say Ubi. We would put that extra G in there. But he said, no, Ubi. So he had 2 pieces and it was pretty tasty, so I got another piece. But outside of that, I don't know how I did. Here's all of our schools. Y'all seen that before. The school there at Wayland, I just got reports on it. It's not on this report here, but you just come across my desk. They have actually had land donated for them to build a new school. That school's only been in progress since April of last year. When I was there in February, March last year, we got the school started. They started April 13th for the first class. And so now, within 1 year, they've already got the first level for the students through the first level, and now they're actually building a building. They have people donating, and the students are actually getting out there and digging up the dirt, taking the grass and stuff, and they're making their own blocks and laying their own blocks to make their own building. They want the school not to be in the church building. They want it to be a school, a proper school. That's what they take pride in that. So there's 4 schools that are in my area. That's graduation, and I'm here 13 graduates with Norwood. You can see me in the back. I had that Maxwell and Brooke Fall had that garment made for me, and I get up there, and this little fellow on my side, Justin. Oh, you bigger than he is. So he's smaller than you. Justin's pretty small up, but he's even smaller than you. And he's probably hit my feet top of your shoulder. He's here, and he basically sat out here and measured me all over everything. And he looks up and got everything rolled down, and got his tape with the pencil, and we're just a little bit room. It's like this. Sewing machines on both sides. It was funny, a little thing or 2 up there prior to turning it was hot, to say the very least. This is early in the morning. And all he could do was look up at me and say, giant. He says, no can do today. Come back tomorrow, we'll have ready. So I said, now they'll take all the guys they had, put that one outfit together for $1 big. So when I got over to Nigeria, they did the same. They had two guys come in and wanted no voodoo, and they measured me, and he's like, woo, big. And I don't know what their dimensions are, but he said I was a 60 in the waist. So whatever dimensions they use, I'm a 60 in their way of measuring. So he said big. And so Brother Emmanuel, he said, we're going to start calling you Big Don. So I'll get a little bit and I'll show you all the pictures in there. There's the graduating class. Here's in Monrovia. That's in the city of Monrovia. That's a big city. About 300 in that congregation there. We started at 10 o'clock right on the money. And I took a picture of the clock. When we got done, it was 2:35. So they worship a long time. So many people have to walk in to the worship services. So when they start singing, and out in the bush, the song leader get there and you can hear it. He'll start singing, and so what he's basically doing is like Freeman ringing the bell. The folks, all members within earshot, can hear that he's there, and they can start marching their way to the building. And so, and the whole time during Bible class, you can stand up there, and they'll be teaching the class, and people are studying walking in. We started out there Sunday morning before I come back, and there was about 10 of us when we got there. And he was already singing, and we pulled up, and the vehicle got out and went in, and we just all started singing. And so that thing filled up. By the time class was over, we had about 90 people in there. I mean, that's like, and before services was over, we had about 120. They just kept coming. it just kept coming. And one of the things I learned there is no matter who's speaking, they don't have a translator. In that congregation, they have two dialects. And so they have to have, they switch translators twice so that they can interpret. Emmanuel interpreted for me. He said, I'm going to interpret it where everybody can understand. He said, but don't preach over 20 minutes. He said, 20 minutes maximum. And I said, okay. I said, so know what you're saying, 10? And then you can translate it. He said, no, 20 minutes. He said, you did it at 20 minutes. And so I took off, and he could translate it as fast as I was speaking. You ever seen anybody do that? As fast as I'm talking, he's translating. He's that good. So they're hearing it, and what they're hearing it translated so they can understand it. In about 22, 23 minutes, we were doing it. And of course, they had another speaker behind me. I didn't know that. That's later. But there's 4 schools in Sierra Leone because he started there, and he wanted back up to do that. The first school was in Freetown on the seacoast, Atlantic seacoast. The second one was in Bow. The third was in Como. And JC just got back. They went down and got Pucon started since I was there, and Marguerite got the Flatum started. And so he got to go over and see 3 of the graduations in the first 3 schools, Freetown, Bow, and Como. And all those preachers that are there are graduates of 21st Century Global Missions. So we're training and retraining and starting school. That's exactly what the intention was. That's what we're doing. Just duplicating ourselves. There's graduation there. Had 31 students. In those 3 schools, we had 84 graduates. It was the first graduation in VA and Bible in 2 of those schools, Bowen and Como. So they started about the same time. Here's the graduate there. And here's what's crazy. Those gowns that you saw those guys wearing, we ordered 40 something and carried them. JC carried them with it, and because we bought the gowns off Amazon and had them shipped to the office cheaper than they could buy the material. And then they had to pay somebody to sew it. Anybody does anything down there in a public way of the service, you have to pay for it. It may not be a lot, but because their society is so secure. Then back to those numbers that I talked about a while ago, if you did the math and that, it's 1,500 to 1. They give me 15,000 now, but it's only $10. So it's 1,500 to 1. So you got 3 $500 bills in your pocket. That's $1,500. And it sits in most places when you go to school, it's $1,500, 3 $500 bills. It's $1 whole in American money down there. $1 whole. Here's the graduation. That is a big thing. It's there. It's in their culture all over Africa. and that is to march through the town and sing. Let's say we're marching to Zion or something of that nature that they'll, you know, I have decided to follow Jesus. When they get out of march for 3 or 400 yards, then take a turn and basically be about a mile by the time you get through making your block. You know, they want to be seen. And here's the graduating classes there. And they have better buildings over in Sierra Leone. The new airplane we got over in Nigeria is no electricity and no air conditioning, to say the least, no running water. I told Lynn, I said, when I get the compound, I could, at Emmanuel's house actually, I said I could take a hot bath in the middle of the day, or I could wait about 2 in the morning and take a cool bath. And she said, why? I said, because the water is in a big old tub that's called up on top of the house up there. During the day it's hot in the sunshine. And about 2 in the morning it cools off enough, you know, with the night air that she can not near hot. But we'll get to those numbers here in just a minute. Here is Chiapas, San Cristobal. I've been there. I've been to Tapachula. 2 schools there. We actually have 3 on the satellite school there. Brother David Aguilar. That man in the center there is Stanley, Guy Stanley. And he goes down and takes care of all those. He loves to go to Honduras or Cameroon, any of them in South America, and attend those graduations. He had called us September of last year, July or September, whichever it was, and said he wasn't going to be able to go to the graduation. Okay, so it was July. That's our graduation in August. He called us prior to that, and he told us, we had asked if he was going to go to graduation, and he said no, his wife was at death's door. And about 2 weeks later, he called back, and he said, I'm ready to go. He said, my wife is passed, she's in the ground, and I got to get busy. So I'm just counting in for anything that I can go do in South America. So we've been on that. He had three schools on that trip right there. So he made 3 graduations this past August. And there he is in San Cristobal. Here's Smith, Belarus. Then over there to the border, they let me to the border, they wouldn't let me in because of the war. The guy that's going to be on the left, that is Oleg Zipny, and he's now the new director of the school. This is Ihor on the far right over here. He has resigned. He started having some physical problems, some health issues, and so he handed the torch off to Oleg, and so he's the new director that is there. But we thank him for all that he's done. And over there in that communist country, it's hard to get students to attend, especially during this time of war. And in Ukraine, it's almost non-existent. We have a school there, we have a flat, and we have people coming through. We do humanitarian efforts, but most of them are there for a few days, a week, a month. They teach, teaches class while they're there, baptize many, but they even end up going on out doing that in Poland. We have 2 schools in Nicaragua, Nindiri, and Sudan, Sandino. And the teacher there at Nindiri is Joel Bustamante. And Joel got his degree in engineering right over here at Carter University at Searcy, Arkansas. And he went back to his country. And his partner is Eduardo Lacayo, and he got his engineering degree, and he's teaching at the Sudan Sandino School. Both of those men are highly intelligent, very well liked and accepted in the community. They pay their own way. We send money for the school itself, but they don't charge anything. So we have those guys that are working hard there. Here in San Ramon, Costa Rica, it has now been called Little America. It's going to become so Americanized to get harder and harder to get students there in San Ramon. And there's 2 of the graduates that are there. And I don't know that brother that is there. Because I'm not seeing a picture. One of our teachers is Humberto Bravo. And that may be him. I don't know. I don't know. But he's supposed to be in there. Honduras. And the guy with the red shirt and silver tie is Richard Alia. He's a super good guy. I got to meet with him up in McKenzie, Tennessee last year. He and I reported back to McKenzie Church Christ on the same day. They support the work. They fund the work in Oklahoma. And so they work with Global Mission. We work with McKenzie. And so we were able to get together. And his niece, her name is Josefina, she married an American. They went down on a mission trip. And Chris and Josefina met. And she came back, and she's some kind of big executive up there in Tennessee now. She does quite well. She did our translating for us when we was up there. And then I'm going to do this very quickly to the last for the numbers. Here's where we're at. Since 2015, started keeping the records in the capacity we have. We have about 1,133 graduates. 1,348 congregations established, 8,801 baptisms, and 5,925 restorations. And I just interviewed, when I was there, 37 of the 40 graduates. 3 of them could not be there. One of them's wife had a motorcycle accident, and the other 2, I don't know what other reason I missed them during the graduation. I just missed them. I didn't get to interview them and do the statistics to find out where they were at, who they were teaching, preaching to. But that's the numbers. Overall, for the amount of money that we spend, we're very economical, very frugal. And so it takes a lot more money here in the States to educate a person. So you take a student that is there, and if we support that student for $800 a month for 4 years. And you got 40 students, and they have a BA in Bible. I haven't done math on it. Just the math and the math. 96 times 4, so 400 and whatever, something, $84,000 for 40 students and more. Can you educate 40 students for $400,000 in the States? Can you get a degree in Bible? Can you get a degree in Bible? Can't be done, can it? And our food is food. Plus, there's no McDonald's. There's no Burger King. I saw one Burger King when I was in Lagos, and we went by. No, it was Indigood. We flew into Indigood. I flew into Lagos and flew out of Lagos over to Indigood, and we drove by Burger King. And I asked Brother Uzi, I said, "What about that thing?" He said, "It tastes nothing like it, man. Don't worry." He said, "It's about 10 minutes." I said, "Okay." But we went to a Class A motel. Hotel. Went in there, and the shower door was not on the rail, but in there. There was no lid or ring on the commode. And you turn the water on in the shower and let it run through a spigot in a bucket, and you took a dipper. And that's how you took it. Use your imagination on the rest of it. That was top of the line. That was first class. You see what I talked about, how blessed we are in the States? Motel 6, most of them don't even want to stay in Motel 6. I promise you, the Motel 6 was like a walk off the story. Not knocking their country, but they're just poor. Thank you so much. Bring me my thumbs and damn, so I don't forget it.
Okay, the doctor's name out is not good.
You want that?
You want the doctor's name out, not good.
I'm gonna wind it out and I'm gonna put it in 30 minutes. How about that? Come on, you put that in there. Is this familiar global mission? This is y'all. This, most time I ain't gonna check out. Global mission. If they tell me global mission, I put global mission. I use it. But I always ask. About how they folks come out and hand me you gotta put gas in it all that, you know, you wire a vehicle out doing what you do. I said, you right. And oh me. But he trying to be simple. He trying to be like everybody.